After our wedding, my husband's childhood neighbors sent us a gift. It was a framed photo of the two of them as kids, sitting in a bathtub. I found it odd. He looked uncomfortable. When I asked about her, he said, "She's harmless. A little obsessed." But then I found a journal in our mailbox. Page after page was written as if she were married to him. Vacations. Fights. Even a miscarriage. And on the last page, a line that still haunts me. "When I said 'till death do us part,' I meant it. You're just a stand-in." We got married in a small ceremony in Asheville, North Carolina. It was simple, quiet, just the way I wanted it. Afterward, we spent 10 days in Maine for our honeymoon. Cold ocean air, fresh lobster, and lots of sleep. I felt like I was living in a dream. At the time, I thought I married the most honest man I'd ever met. When we got home, there were a few wedding gifts stacked by the front door. One box had no tag. Just simple brown wrapping, neat corners, like whoever packed it took their time. Inside was a silver picture frame. And in it, a photo. It looked old, grainy, faded. 2 kids, maybe 5 or 6 years old, sitting together in a bathtub. The little boy had dark hair and a familiar, serious look. It was Mark. No doubt. But the girl, blonde curls, big grin, was someone I didn't recognize. Mark walked in from the kitchen just as I pulled the frame out of the box. "What the hell is this?" I asked. He stopped, looked at the picture, and gave a weird smile. Not a happy one, more like nervous amusement. "Oh, that's Lily," he said. "Who?" "Lily Benton. She was our next-door neighbor growing up. That was from when we were kids. She used to come over a lot." "Who sent this?" He scratched his head and shrugged. "Probably her. She's harmless. Just a little obsessed." That stuck with me. I stared at him. "Obsessed?" He laughed, but it didn't sound real. "She used to write me letters, draw hearts on my locker in high school, weird stuff like that. I haven't talked to her in over 10 years. I should have pressed harder. But I let it go. I wish I hadn't." A week later, I went to check the mailbox around noon. I almost missed it. Someone had wedged a small leather journal between junk mail and a magazine. No postage. No return address. I took it inside and opened it. The first page made my stomach twist. "Today we argued about the curtains. He doesn't understand that yellow brightens the space. But I forgive him. I always do." I flipped through quickly. Dozens of pages. She had written like they were married. "Mark made pancakes this morning. He's learning to love blueberries, just like me. We talked about the miscarriage today. I wish I could cry, but I don't want to upset him. He was so tired last night. I let him fall asleep in my lap. He always feels safe with me. It was fantasy. A full made-up life." Then I got to the last page. Only one sentence was written in shaky black ink. "When I said 'till death do us part,' I meant it. You're just a stand-in." I dropped the journal and backed away from the table. My whole body felt cold. When Mark got home that night, I showed it to him. I didn't say a word, just placed it in front of him. He sat down, flipped through it, then looked at me like a scared kid. "She's crazy," he said. "I haven't spoken to her since college. I swear to God." "You said she was harmless." "I thought she was. I didn't think you kept this from me. You didn't tell me the full story." He didn't have an answer for that. Just sat there, breathing hard, rubbing his forehead. That night I didn't sleep. I started digging the next day. I called Mark's mother while he was at work. Asked her about Lily. Her voice dropped when I brought up the name. She was troubled. She said, "Quiet. Always wanted to be around Mark." She'd come over uninvited. Once, when he was 15, we found her hiding in his closet. Naked. What? I didn't know what to do. We called her parents, but they brushed it off. Said she was going through a phase. After that, Mark stopped telling us when she showed up. I hung up and tried to hold in the nausea. I couldn't believe he never told me any of this. That night I told Mark I wanted the truth, all of it. He finally admitted that Lily had sent letters and emails for years. She even showed up at his college dorm once, claiming she was pregnant. He called security, and she disappeared. After that, he blocked her on everything. But she always found a way back. He said, "You should have told me before we got married. I didn't want to scare you. I thought she was gone." I started noticing signs around the house. A scratch on the back door. The trash can knocked over. The porch light flickering. One night, I found footprints outside the bedroom window. Just one set. Barefoot. I set up a camera. 3 nights later, around 3 a.m., I checked the feed. There she was. Lily. Standing in our backyard, wearing a long nightgown. Just staring up at the window. Her hair was wet. She didn't move. She just stood there for nearly 20 minutes. I showed the footage to Mark. He turned white. We went to the police. They told us they couldn't do anything unless she made a direct threat or entered the property. She did threaten me, I said. Look at the journal. They took a copy, said they. Keep an eye out. That night, I installed more cameras. Deadbolts. Alarms. I didn't sleep. The next week felt like we were living in a nightmare. Even with the cameras and locks, I never felt safe. I kept the journal in my nightstand drawer. Every time I opened it, I swore I could still smell her perfume on the pages, sweet, almost childlike, like cheap candy. One night, while Mark was working late, I heard a knock at the front door. Not the bell. Just two slow, soft knocks. I froze. Didn't move. Another knock. I peeked through the peephole. No one. I waited. An hour later, when I went to throw out the trash, I found something hanging from the mailbox. It was a baby's onesie. White. Brand new. Still had the tag on. On the chest it said, "Mommy's little secret." I dropped it. That same night, the security alert on my phone went off. Motion detected in the backyard. I pulled up the feed. There she was again. Lily. This time, she was kneeling in the grass, digging something into the ground with her bare hands. I called 911, but she was gone before they arrived. They searched the yard, but found nothing. I wasn't okay anymore. I stopped eating. I barely left the house. Mark told me he was going to stay home from work more often. Said we'd get through this. The next morning, I found a post-it note stuck to my steering wheel. Don't trust him. I showed Mark. He looked panicked, then angry. She's trying to mess with you. That's all this is. Is she? I asked. Or is there something else? His silence said everything. Later that night, I used Mark's laptop while he was in the shower. I knew I shouldn't have. But I needed answers. I searched his email. At first, nothing. Then I saw an old folder, archived messages. Inside were dozens of emails from Lily. Dating back years. Some he never opened. Others he did. Some he even responded to. One message stood out. The subject line. "You promised." His reply. "Please stop. I told you I couldn't keep that promise." When I confronted him, he broke down. "I met up with her 3 years ago," he admitted. "Before I met you. She told me she was pregnant. I didn't believe her. She lost the baby, if there even was one. I walked away. But I never told her goodbye the right way. I just blocked her. I didn't think she'd still be watching me." My stomach turned. "You lied to me. I didn't think it mattered. It was before us." But it did matter. Because now I knew she had a reason to hate me. A few days later, I found something buried in the backyard. I was planting a small lilac bush by the fence when my shovel hit something hard. I dug around it, hands shaking. It was a shoebox. Inside were photos. Not of Mark and Lily. Of me. Walking to my car. At the grocery store. At the gym. One was of me sleeping. In our bedroom. I dropped the box and threw up in the grass. When Mark came out and saw the photos, he didn't say a word. Just turned around and went inside. That night, we slept with the lights on. I called the detective we filed the report with. She came the next day, took the box, and promised to look into it. But she didn't sound hopeful. "She hasn't broken any laws yet," she said. "But I believe you're in danger." That same night, my phone rang at 2:12 a.m. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. When I listened, it was her voice. "I saw what you did today. He's mine. Always has been. You're not even close to what he needs. I'd die for him. Would you?" The police said they'd increase patrols in our neighborhood. They said they'd do what they could. That meant nothing. Every time the wind blew too hard or a shadow moved across our porch, I jumped. I kept a knife by the bed. Mark started sleeping on the couch, said it was to let me rest, but I knew it was because he couldn't look me in the eye. 2 days after the voicemail, I got another package. This one came by actual mail, postmarked from a small town called Spruce Pine. Inside was a VHS tape. No note. Just the tape. We didn't even own a VCR, but Mark said he could borrow one from his dad's house. When we played it, my hands shook so bad I could barely press the power button. The screen flickered. At first, it was just footage of a bedroom, messy, feminine, with stuffed animals and makeup scattered on a dresser. The camera shook, then settled. Mark walked in. Younger, thinner, but it was him. He sat on the bed. The camera zoomed in slowly. He looked uncomfortable. Then Lily walked in. She sat next to him, put her hand on his leg. He flinched. She whispered something, and he pulled away. "I told you not to come here," he said. She just smiled. Then the screen cut to static. I turned to Mark. "When was that?" "I don't know. Maybe right after college. I don't remember her filming it." "You were in her house?" "She showed up at my place crying. Said she needed to talk. Said she might hurt herself. I followed her home. I shouldn't have gone in, but I didn't know what else to do. I wanted to scream. Why didn't you tell me this before?" "I was ashamed," he said. "I didn't want you to think I was part of this." "You were," I said. "Even if you didn't mean to be." That night, the cameras caught her again. But this time, she wasn't alone. There were two of them. Lily and someone we couldn't recognize. The second person wore a hoodie, stayed in the shadows, and seemed to be carrying something heavy. They walked around the side of the house, then disappeared out of frame. When we checked the backyard in the morning, we found a small wooden cross nailed into the ground. On it, in shaky marker. For what should have been. I called the detective again. Begged her to do something. "We're close to being able to act," she said. "Just hang on." But I was done hanging on. I called Lily's parents. Got her mother on the phone. She sounded tired. Worn down. "She's not supposed to be in Spruce Pine," her mother said. "She was living in assisted housing near Asheville. We thought she was doing better. She's been here. She's been watching us. Stalking me. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say anymore. We've tried everything. Doctors. Facilities. Even police. Nothing sticks. She always finds a way out." I didn't respond. Just hung up. That night, Mark went missing. I woke up to find the front door wide open. His keys still on the counter. His phone charging next to the couch. I called him over and over. No answer. Then, at 4:32 a.m., I got a text from his number. "He's with me now. Just like it's supposed to be." I stood there staring at the message. My hands went numb. I couldn't breathe. I texted back. Called. Nothing. I called the police. Again. This time I didn't ask. I begged. I told them what happened, showed them the text. They finally treated it like a real abduction. Said they'd start tracking his phone. I didn't wait. I drove to Spruce Pine by myself. I didn't know where she lived, but I remembered the postmark. The clerk at the town's only post office recognized the name. Lily Benton. Said she picked up her mail at the blue rental house on Millwood Avenue. I parked down the street, walked the rest of the way. My stomach was turning. My legs felt like rubber. The house was dark. Curtains drawn. I walked to the side window and peeked in. And I saw him. Mark. Tied to a chair in the middle of the living room. Gagged. His face bloody. One eye swollen shut. And Lily was there, standing behind him with her hand on his shoulder. Smiling. I dialed 911 and whispered the address. Then I made a mistake. I didn't wait. I kicked the door open. Lily didn't flinch. She just turned toward me, calm like she'd been expecting me. "I knew you'd come," she said. "You had to see it. Let him go," I said. She looked at Mark. "He doesn't want to leave. He remembers now. We were everything. Before you ever existed." I pulled the small kitchen knife from my coat pocket. "Move away from him." She stepped back, hands up. "You're just like me now," she said. "You'd do anything for him. Even kill." "Shut up." Mark was sobbing, trying to scream through the gag. Lily tilted her head. "You still think he chose you?" "He told me once that he dreamed about me while he slept beside you." I don't know what came over me. Rage, panic, grief, all of it. I lunged at her. We fought hard. She scratched, bit, screamed. I got her on the ground, pinned her arms, and held the knife to her throat. I saw it in her eyes then, real fear. And I did nothing. I called the police again. Told them she was here, that she'd taken him, that I had her. When they arrived, she didn't resist. Just smiled at them and said, "We were meant to be." Aftermath. Mark recovered. Physically. But something changed in both of us. I couldn't stop seeing that look in his eyes when Lily whispered in his ear, even as he was tied up. Like part of him still remembered her. We tried therapy. We tried pretending none of it happened. It didn't work. I found another message in my car weeks later. This one wasn't from Lily. It was from her accomplice. The one in the hoodie. It read. She was the only one who ever told the truth. You're no better than her. That's when I found out. Lily's accomplice was her younger cousin, someone Mark had dated briefly before me. He lied about that too. I left him. I moved 3 states away. I changed my number. My name. But I kept the journal. I read it sometimes when I can't sleep. I remind myself what happens when you ignore signs. When you let harmless people linger in your life because you don't want to make things uncomfortable. Mark lost everything. His job, his marriage, his reputation. Lily is in a facility now. Locked down. Monitored. They say she's calm. That she's improving. I don't believe them. Because sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still dream about that last page. The handwriting. The promise. You're just the stand-in. And I wonder, what if she was right?